Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom. Am Yisrael, 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 Am Yisrael. Od Avinu Chai, Od Avinu Chai, Od Avinu, Od Avinu, Od Avinu Chai, Od Avinu Chai, Od Avinu Chai, Od Avinu, Od Avinu, Od Avinu Chai. Avinu Shalom Aleichem, Avinu Shalom Aleichem, Avinu Shalom Aleichem, Avinu Shalom, Shalom, Shalom Aleichem, Avinu Shalom Aleichem, Avinu Shalom Aleichem, Avinu Shalom Aleichem, Avinu Shalom, Shalom, Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Yerushalayim, Shalom Yerushalayim, Shalom Yerushalayim, Shalom Yerushalayim, Shalom, 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 Shalom Yerushalayim. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. Jerusalem shall live in peace. Shalom, 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 Shalom Yerushalayim. Shalom, 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 Shalom Yerushalayim. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom.
Praise God. Shabbat Shalom, peaceful Sabbath.
These are the days of Elijah, declaring the word of the Lord. And these are the days of your servant Moses, righteousness being restored. And though these are days of great trials, of famine and darkness and storm, still we are the voice in the desert, crying, prepare ye the way of the Lord. Behold, he comes, riding on the clouds, shining like the sun, and the trumpet calls, so lift your voice, hear unto me, out of Zion till salvation comes.
That's right, come on.
These are the days of Ezekiel, the dry bones becoming as flesh. And these are the days of your servant
privileged to have this man here in the States. When we got on our tour in February and he got on the bus, you know, you're expecting to have a tour guide. What I got blown away by an individual that was passionate about his country, about his people. And it came through in everything that he did, par excellence. And immediately, I can't describe to you how I felt, but I felt like I was connected to him. And I really wanted him to come to the States so that he could meet people, not just for tours, but just meet people, and that you could feel his passion. Something happened while he was here. I don't want him to go home. I feel like a brother to him. I really do. And I have gotten to know him more and more and more. And I said, I need to meet your wife. I need to meet your children. Because he's an exceptional individual. And he'll wave it off, but he is. He's exceptional. And I told him, we prayed for him. And I know that as time goes on, God has plans. But I think he's part of God's plan. I really do. He's part of God's plan, not only to us, but to his fellow countrymen. And I am so glad that he's here today to share with us his passion and to show you his country. So without any further delay, I am proud to introduce Asher Ashkenazi from the land of Israel.
Thank you. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Shalom Aleichem, which means peace be unto you. That's how Christ would be greeting his disciples. Each time he saw them, he would say, Shalom Aleichem, peace be unto you. I want to thank my friends, my brothers, Reverend David Mayer, for everything you've done, for the warm welcome, for the invitation, for the great hospitality, and Sister Dolores. You're right. I feel like a family. Thank you. Thank you for all you've done. I feel at home, folks. Thank you for making me feel at home. I come in, I see the Israeli flag. I hear Israeli music. I'm with brothers and sisters. I especially enjoy the steaks that we've been having together, by the way. You kept your promise. You said, Asher, when you come, you're going to eat the best steaks in the world. You were right. I mean, by the way, we're responsible for finishing all these beef ribs, by the way, yesterday. My friends, as I said, I'm with brothers and sisters. We all share the same belief in one God. We, the Jewish people, we reconfirm our belief in one God every day, a few times a day. At each one of our 3 times daily prayers, we say the Shema. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. The Lord our God, the Lord is one. We reconfirm it again and again every day. We are the children of Abraham. We are all his children. I am the child of Abraham by blood. We are the children of Abraham by faith. We are the chosen people. We are the chosen generation. We are members of the same family, the branches of the very same tree. We are the natural branches. We are grafted in, but we belong to the same tree. And the roots of that tree is in Israel. It's the Judeo-Christian roots. So I came here, first of all, to visit my friends, my brothers. What can be more natural than coming and visiting them? But I also came to tell you to come to Israel, to come to visit the other members of your family who live in Israel. Why you should be coming to Israel? To me it's so obvious. To me it's so obvious that every one of you should be coming to Israel. It should be the very first place to come. Where else can you have a good, deep understanding of your roots? Where else can you know your roots better, if not in Israel? That's where Christianity was born. That's where Jesus lived. If you take a few trips, that's where Christ spent all his life. That's where he was born. That's where he grew up. That's where he walked. That's where he taught. That's where he performed his miracles. That's where he ministered. That's where he chose his disciples. It's the land of the Bible. When you come to Israel, you'll be walking in the footsteps of Christ. You'll be visiting all those sites where those things happened. It's going to be a life-changing experience. I've heard it from almost everyone who came to Israel. They told me, Asher, my life is not the same. It's a life-changing experience. And my friends, so overwhelming. Wherever you are in Israel, and by the way, when you come to Israel, you are returning home. That's where your roots are. You're not just coming, you're returning to a place where your roots are. I've heard it from, again, wherever you are in Israel, wherever you are, believe me, when you look around, every mountain, every hill, every valley, every rock, every pebble have so much history. You'll see the Bible will come to life. The Bible will open up. In the Bible, it says in Isaiah 11, 12, the Lord will gather the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. My brothers and sisters, this prophecy is being fulfilled today. The Lord is gathering the Jewish people, the dispersed of Judah, from the four corners of the earth. We the Jewish people, we were uprooted 2,000 years ago from our homeland by the Romans. We were sent to exile. We were forced to leave our homes. We never forgot Zion, and we waited. We knew that God would gather us and bring us back home. And today, this biblical prophecy is being fulfilled in my lifetime. I am a blessed Israeli, an Israeli Jew. In my lifetime, I can see my people coming back home. I grew up in my homeland. For 2,000 years, my people have been praying, as I say, 3 times a day. At each one of those 3 times daily prayers, every single day, while facing Jerusalem, they will recite the very same words. 2 of those words are, in Hebrew, Yerushalayim Habnuya. I think you should all learn Hebrew, because that's the language we'll be speaking when we go up there. Yerushalayim Habnuya, the rebuilt Jerusalem. Imagine a people for 2,000 years facing their holy city, Jerusalem, reciting the very same words, praying for rebuilding of Zion, for rebuilding of Jerusalem. My friends, every year we the Jewish people recite the very same words. When we celebrate Passover, we say, Leshana Haba'a Be'Yerushalayim, which means next year in Jerusalem. Those 3 words for 2,000 years were a hope, a yearning, a dream, a prayer. Today, it's reality. This prophecy is being fulfilled today. We are back. We are rebuilding our land. We are reclaiming our land. And the land is happy. And the land is rebuilding us. From Isaiah again, it says, the desert will rejoice and blossom as a rose. Isaiah 35. The Jewish people are back to their land. The land is happy. Because for 2,000 years, the land of Israel was occupied by different empires. For 2,000 years, after the Jewish people were forced to exile, sent, forced to leave their homes, this land of Israel, was occupied by the Assyrians, by the Babylonians, by the Persians, Greeks, Romans, Arabs, Crusaders, Mamluks, Turks, the British. They all left. And when they occupied our land, my land became the neglected, unbuilt backyard, which nobody reclaimed. Nobody planted any trees. It became a desert. Only about 100 years ago, if you'd come to Israel, Take my word. You would not be able to see almost one single tree. Folks, it was all desert. It reminds me of Mark Twain. You must have heard of him. The famous American traveler who came to Israel in 1860s, by the way. 1867. He wrote a book which became a bestseller. Still is. It was called The Innocents Abroad. In his book, first of all, he says, when he came to Israel, he expected to find a huge country like United States. You know, Holy Land, land of the Bible, with all these holy sites, all the history. He comes to Israel, he finds this real tiny piece of land. You know, on the world map, we don't have enough space to write down the word Israel. As I said yesterday, if you're lucky, you'll put an I and maybe add an S to it, if you're lucky. And then he says, they were traveling long distances, miles. They could be traveling miles and not see one single person and not see one single tree. It was desolation, he says. It was a desert. And today, when you come to Israel, those mountains which were barren, which were just covered by thistles, by thorns, and those valleys which became malaria-infested swamps, for 2,000 years, today those mountains are covered by trees, by forest. Those what used to be the malaria-infested swamps, today they've become fertile valleys. You're going to see greenery, trees. Israel is the only country in the world where you have a significant rise in the number of the trees in the last 100 years. Everywhere else, the trees are being cut down, the forests are disappearing. Israel accomplished the largest reforestation project in the world. We planted in the last 100 years more than 240 million trees, my friends. More than 240 million trees. The land is happy because his people are back. The land is rejoicing. And you see the desert rejoicing and blossoming as the rose. We, the Jewish people, the word Jew actually means a Judean. In Hebrew, it's more obvious. In Hebrew, a Jew is Yehudi. Judea is Yehuda. Yehudi, Yehuda, which means a Jew is a Judean. Someone who belongs to Judea. Somebody who comes from Judea. I'm going to show you, I brought a coin all the way from Israel. A 2,000-year-old coin, by the way, in my hand. Authentic, believe me. Later on, you can come and take a look. What I see on this coin is, first of all, the image of Vespasian, the Roman emperor. It was Titus' father who destroyed the second temple. On the other side, it says Judea. That's what Israel was called 2,000 years ago. The southern part of Israel, Judea. It's our land. We're not occupiers. We are back to our land. That's the proof. That's the proof. I could give you a long list of what this young nation, Israel, accomplished in the last 68 years. We've done so much. Unfortunately, we've been through 6 wars. We had a problem with our neighbors. Neighbor conflicts. Border conflicts. Since I'm a kid, I heard our neighbors, wanting to drive us to the sea. That's what they said. They want to drive the Jews to the sea. Since I was a kid. So my parents didn't take any chances. They made sure I knew how to swim, just in case. I made sure my kids know how to swim too. One of my daughters became the swimming champion, by the way. But we survived. God was with us. God's hand was on us. Only 1948, a few hours after Israel's independence was proclaimed, in 1948, May 1948, we were invaded by 5 Arab armies. 5 Arab armies invading in order to destroy Israel. A few hours after our independence was proclaimed. The Egyptian planes were bombarding Tel Aviv A few hours after the Jewish people regained their sovereignty after 2,000 years. But we survived. This newly born state with no regular army was able to push back the 5 Arab armies and survived. And you know, after our independence war, which was a very bloody war, by the way, in this war, Israel, we lost 1% of the population died in this war. A population of 600,000, 6,000 people died in our independence war. And what I want to tell you is, the following years, between 1948 and 1952, we had close to 1 million Jewish immigrants, Jewish refugees coming to Israel. Just imagine, a population of 600,000, just after a very bloody war, hardly had enough food, enough housing, enough jobs, and here you have 1 million Jewish immigrants coming to Israel. We did not refuse one of them. We accept them all. We integrate them all. You know, we don't have enough, hardly enough food and housing for us. We were able to integrate and accept our 1 million brothers and sisters who came to Israel. That's what Israel's about. Just imagine proportionally, 600,000 Jews accepting 1 million Jews in the next 4 years. These are the facts. You know, I could tell you, I could keep going. I don't want to take too much of your time, but I could keep going and tell you all Israel has done. You know, if I give you the list of all the Israeli innovations, all the Israeli inventions, you'd be late for breakfast tomorrow morning. I don't want to do that. You know, we are a high-tech nation, by the way. You know, we have the second largest Silicon Valley in the world after you people. You know, a lot of what you use in your computers, hardware, software, microprocessors, microchips, you know, GPS, these are all Israeli developments, Israeli inventions. Your cell phones, developed in Israel. Drip irrigation, a country which was a desert, became the leading farming nation in the world. The Israeli farmers will tell you, bring me water, I can grow you anything, anywhere. Drip irrigation. The cherry tomatoes you've been eating. I love them, by the way, cherry tomatoes. Do you like them? We are one of the 7-8 nations who are able to launch satellites, by the way. I could give you a long list, believe me, and I'm so proud of it. But we are not doing such a good job in one field. And that's one thing, that's one of the things I want to tell you. We're not doing a good job fighting against a terrible propaganda war of lies and misinformation in order to delegitimize Israel and demonize Israel. Unfortunately, our enemies, who have realized that they have no way, no chance of defeating us on the battlefield, they have launched a different warfare. A terrible propaganda war. Israel is portrayed in the world, in the media, on the newspapers, as the occupiers. Occupy from whom? We came back home. We came back Judea. We are Judeans. You know, the Jewish people are the only nation in the world who built an independent state in the land of Israel. Spread the word. Spread the word. Spread those facts. We are the only people who built an independent, sovereign state in the land which was promised to us by God. We are the only people who made Jerusalem the capital. Jerusalem became the capital of an independent state 3 times in the world history. At each one of those 3 times, that's when the Jewish people had their independent state. For 2,000 years, when our land was occupied by all those empires, none of them rebuilt Jerusalem. None of them made Jerusalem the capital. Only when the Jewish people, we have 3,700 years connection between the Jewish people and their land. And by the way, as I said, we are portrayed as the occupiers, unfortunately, you know. And in the Jewish Bible, Jerusalem is mentioned more than 600 times. If you want the exact, 667 times. In the Muslim Holy Book, you know how many times the name Jerusalem is mentioned? None. Not even once. So, Again, I came here to join us fight against this terrible propaganda war of lies, to spread the word. And come to Israel. If you come to Israel, first of all, you'll see what this is about. You'll see the truth. And you can tell your friends, the others, look, I've been there. I know what it's about. And by the way, it's one of the safest places on earth. I know some of you might have hard time believing me. I didn't feel that safe in downtown in Chicago and in Milwaukee, by the way. Believe me, I feel much, much safer at home. It's one of the safest places. Again, I know that in the media, in the news, it's portrayed as a very unsafe, as a very dangerous place. It's not true. How many of you have been to Israel can I see the hands? Did you feel safe? Felt very safe, right? As I said, it's a safe place. And come to Israel. You know, they say a picture is worth 1,000 words. When you come to Israel, what you see, words cannot express. Words are insufficient, you know. So come. And, you know, when you come to Israel, you'll be blessing us. That's the most natural thing you're going to do. Our other members of the family coming to visit us. We're one family. That's the way I feel. So when you bless us, you'll be blessed. Okay? Pastors should be bringing their churches. They'll be blessing their people, blessing us. They'll be blessed. You know, it says, I will bless those who bless you, and I will curse those who curse you. Right? Thank you again for being such great friends of ours. I am honored to be here with you.